Ladies and gentlemen, if I told you that most of your fears about the future will never happen, would you believe me? If I told you that worry is nothing more than wasted energy, would you listen? Yet, here we are, trapped in our minds, stressing about tomorrow, about next week, about next year, so much so that we forget to live right now. But let me ask you this. Has worrying ever changed the outcome of anything? Has it ever added value to your life? Or has it only stolen your peace, your sleep, and your happiness? We worry so much because our brains are wired for survival. From an evolutionary standpoint, our ancestors had to constantly anticipate danger, whether it was a predator lurking in the shadows or a lack of food for the winter. This survival mechanism still exists today, but instead of protecting us from life-threatening dangers, it now fixates on uncertainties about our careers, relationships, finances, and future. Our minds create endless, what-if scenarios, making us believe that overthinking will somehow prevent failure or hardship. But in reality, excessive worrying only drains our mental energy, traps us in a cycle of anxiety, and prevents us from enjoying the present moment. Another reason we worry so much is because we crave control. The unknown is uncomfortable, and when we can't predict what's coming next, we try to compensate by overanalyzing every possible outcome. We convince ourselves that if we just think hard enough, we can prepare for every situation and avoid disappointment. But the truth is, no matter how much we worry, life will always be unpredictable. The future is full of uncertainties, and worrying doesn't give us control, only gives us stress. Instead of wasting energy on fear, we must learn to embrace uncertainty with confidence, trusting that we have the strength to handle whatever comes our way. Many people believe that if they plan enough, worry enough, or analyze every possible outcome, they can somehow control the future. This is the illusion of control, the false belief that we can predict and manipulate everything that happens in our lives. While planning and preparation are important, the truth is that life is unpredictable. No matter how much we try to anticipate the future, unexpected challenges, opportunities, and circumstances will always arise. The fear of uncertainty leads people to overthink, constantly seeking reassurance that they are making the right choices. But in reality, no amount of worrying will ever provide complete certainty. The more we try to control everything, the more anxious and frustrated we become. Life is full of variables that are beyond our influence. Other people's actions, economic changes, health situations, and countless external factors that can shift the course of our plans. When things don't go as expected, those who believe they can control everything often feel overwhelmed and defeated. Instead of trying to control the uncontrollable, the key to peace of mind is learning to adapt. The most successful and fulfilled people aren't those who never face uncertainty. They're the ones who embrace it, adjust when needed, and move forward with confidence despite the unknown. Letting go of the illusion of control doesn't mean being passive or careless. It means focusing on what you can control. Your mindset, your attitude, your actions. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you can choose how you respond to challenges today. By shifting your energy from fear to action, from worry to faith, you free yourself from the burden of trying to predict the unpredictable. The moment you accept that the future will always be uncertain, you gain the power to truly live in the present. Instead of fearing what's to come, trust yourself to handle whatever life brings your way. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience, but it is also one of the most deceptive. Our minds have a way of exaggerating threats, creating endless what-if scenarios that make the future seem terrifying. However, research has shown that 90% of the things we worry about never actually happen. That means most of our fears are nothing more than mental fabrications, imaginary disasters that never come to life. Yet, despite knowing this, we continue to let fear dictate our decisions, emotions, and even our ability to take action. We waste precious time worrying about things that have no real basis in reality. One of the reasons fear feels so real is because our brains are wired for survival. In ancient times, our ancestors had to be hyper-aware of potential dangers, predators, food shortages, and environmental threats. While modern life is vastly different, our brains still function the same way, constantly scanning for risks, even when no real danger exists. This is why we overanalyze situations, assume the worst, and convince ourselves that failure, rejection, or embarrassment are inevitable. Our minds trick us into believing that we need to prepare for every possible negative outcome, But in reality, we are simply exhausting ourselves with unnecessary stress. Even when something we fear does happen, it is often far less devastating than we imagined. Think back to a time when you worried about an event, a job interview, an exam, or a difficult conversation. You may have lost sleep over it, replaying worst-case scenarios in your head, only for it to turn out completely fine, or at least manageable. Fear often makes challenges seem larger than they really are, causing us to suffer more in our imagination than in reality. And even if things don't go as planned, we usually adapt and find solutions, proving to ourselves that we are far more capable than we give ourselves credit for. The real danger of fear is not in the things we worry about, but in the way it limits us. When we let fear control us, we hesitate to take risks, step outside our comfort zones, or chase our dreams. We allow the fear of failure to keep us from trying, the fear of rejection to keep us from speaking up, and the fear of uncertainty to keep us from embracing new opportunities. But if 90% of these fears are never going to happen, then we are holding ourselves back for no reason. We are allowing illusion to rob us of experiences, success, and happiness. To overcome fear, we must recognize it for what it truly is, an overactive imagination creating problems that do not exist. Instead of dwelling on what could go wrong, focus on what could go right. Instead of assuming the worst, trust that you will handle whatever comes your way. The moment you stop feeding your fears, they lose their power over you. Life is too short to be ruled by things that are unlikely to happen. Let go of unnecessary worries, step into your potential, and start living with confidence, knowing that most of what you fear will never come true. Worrying is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with things you don't need. Extra weight that slows you down, drains your energy, and makes every step feel harder than it should. It starts small, with a simple thought about the future. A what if that creeps into your mind. But before you know it, that single worry turns into a storm of anxious thoughts, piling up one after another. You begin to overanalyze, second-guess yourself, and imagine worst-case scenarios, even when there is no real evidence that things will go wrong. Worrying steals your peace by keeping your mind in a constant state of stress, never allowing you to fully relax, appreciate the present, or feel truly content. It convinces you that if you just think hard enough, you can prevent bad things from happening. But in reality, worrying doesn't change the future. It only robs you of the present. The biggest illusion that worrying creates is the idea that it is productive. Many people believe that by worrying, they are preparing themselves, staying ahead of problems, or being responsible. But the truth is, worrying does nothing to fix or prevent problems. It only magnifies them in your mind. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of fear and doubt, making even small challenges feel overwhelming. Instead of helping you make better decisions, excessive worry clouds your judgment, making it harder to think clearly, take action, or trust yourself. You become paralyzed by overthinking, analyzing every possibility to the point where you don't take action at all. Opportunities pass you by, and progress slows down because you're too busy worrying about what might go wrong instead of focusing on what you can do right now. Not only does worrying affect your ability to move forward, but it also drains you emotionally and physically. Stress caused by constant worrying takes a toll on your body, leading to headaches, tension, fatigue, and even more serious health issues over time. It weakens your immune system, disrupts your sleep, and increases the risk of anxiety and depression. When your mind is constantly consumed with worry, it becomes impossible to feel at peace. Instead of enjoying life, celebrating your achievements, or appreciating what you have, you're always living in the future, anticipating problems that may never come. You miss out on joyful moments because your thoughts are always somewhere else, wrapped up in fear instead of embracing the here and now. Worrying turns life into something to endure rather than something to enjoy. On top of stealing your peace, worrying also limits your growth. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of the unknown all stem from worrying about what might happen. When you constantly dwell on the worst-case scenario, you hesitate to take risks, step outside your comfort zone, or chase your dreams. You convince yourself that you're not ready, that things might go wrong, that you might not be good enough. But in doing so, you miss out on the experiences and opportunities that could transform your life. Growth only happens when you're willing to take chances, embrace challenges, and trust yourself to handle whatever comes. But worry keeps you trapped in your own mind, holding you back from achieving the things you are truly capable of. Letting go of worry is not about ignoring responsibilities or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about recognizing that worrying itself serves no purpose. It doesn't solve problems. It only makes them feel bigger. Instead of worrying about what might go wrong, focus on what you can control. Instead of fearing the unknown, trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. The key to peace and progress is learning to separate what is real from what is imagined. The future will always be uncertain, but that doesn't mean it should be feared. The moment you choose to stop worrying and start living, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and open the door to a life of greater clarity, confidence, and fulfillment. Trusting yourself is one of the most important yet challenging things you can do in life. We often look at others for validation, waiting for someone to reassure us that we are making the right choices, that we are capable, that we are enough. But the truth is, no one can give you the confidence and belief in yourself that you must build from within. Life is unpredictable, and challenges will come your way. But the one thing that will determine how you overcome them is not your circumstances. It's your mindset. You are stronger than you think. But unless you trust yourself, you will never tap into that strength. Doubt is a liar. It whispers that you're not ready, that you're not smart enough, that you're not capable. And if you listen to that voice, it will hold you back from opportunities, experiences, and growth. The moment you start trusting yourself is the moment you take back your power. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to trust themselves is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong decision. But the truth is, there is no such thing as a perfect path. Every successful person you admire has made mistakes, faced setbacks, and questioned themselves at some point. The difference is that they didn't let fear stop them. They trusted that no matter what happened, they would figure it out. That's the mindset you must develop. Life is not about avoiding failure. It's about knowing that even if you stumble, you have the strength to stand back up. You've already overcome more than you realize. Think about the struggles you faced in the past. At the time, they may have seemed impossible, yet here you are, stronger and wiser because of them. You didn't just survive those moments. You grew from them. That is proof that you are stronger than you think. When you don't trust yourself, you give away your power. You hesitate, overthink, and second-guess every decision. You seek approval from others, hoping they will confirm what you already know deep down. But the problem with relying on external validation is that it's never enough. One person may support you, while another may doubt you. If you base your confidence on what others think, you will always be at their mercy. True confidence comes from within. It's built through action, through making decisions, taking risks, and proving to yourself that you are capable. The more you trust yourself, the less you need validation from others. You realize that your own belief in yourself is more powerful than any opinion someone else might have. Trusting yourself doesn't mean you will always have the answers. It doesn't mean you will never make mistakes. It simply means that you trust your ability to figure things out, to adapt, to grow. It means you give yourself permission to try, even if you're scared. It means you believe that no matter what happens, you will handle it. Too many people hold themselves back because they're waiting to feel ready. But the truth is, you will never feel 100% ready for the big moments in life. Growth happens when you step into the unknown, when you take action despite the fear. Trust yourself enough to take that first step. You don't need all the answers right now. You just need the courage to begin. You are stronger than you think. Every time you push through doubt, every time you face a challenge, every time you keep going when things feel impossible, you are proving that strength to yourself. The more you trust yourself, the more unstoppable you become. You stop worrying about what could go wrong and start focusing on what could go right. You stop seeking permission and start giving yourself the freedom to live life on your terms. Strength is not about never feeling fear. It's about not letting that fear control you. The moment you decide to trust yourself, to believe in your own power, you unlock a version of yourself that is fearless, capable, and ready to take on the world. Fear is a natural part of life, but when it takes control, it limits our potential and keeps us from truly living. Many people spend years avoiding risks, second-guessing their choices, and staying within their comfort zones because they are afraid of failure, rejection, or the unknown. But fear is not meant to be a roadblock. It is meant to be a signal that we are stepping into new territory, growing beyond what we thought was possible. Overcoming fear is not about eliminating it completely. It is about learning how to manage it, push past it, and take action despite it. The key to living fully is not waiting until you no longer feel afraid, but acting in spite of that fear. The more you do this, the more resilient and confident you become, proving to yourself that fear does not have to control your life. The first step to overcoming fear is recognizing it for what it is, an emotion, not a reality. Fear often tricks us into believing that danger is imminent, that something terrible will happen if we step outside our comfort zone. But most of the things we fear never actually come true, and even when they do, they are rarely as bad as we imagine. The mind magnifies fear, creating worst-case scenarios that paralyze us. To break free, you must question your fears instead of blindly believing them. Ask yourself, is this fear based on fact, or is it just a story I am telling myself? Challenge the negative thoughts that keep you stuck, and replace them with logical, empowering beliefs. Instead of thinking, I will fail if I try this, reframe it to, even if I fail, I will learn and grow from the experience. The way you speak to yourself has a direct impact on your ability to face fear. So be intentional about shifting your mindset toward courage and possibility. Another powerful way to overcome fear is through action. Fear thrives in inaction. The longer you wait, the bigger it grows. When you procrastinate on something that scares you, you give your mind more time to overthink, create doubts, and convince you to avoid it. The solution is to move forward before fear has a chance to take over. Start small if you need to. Take one small step toward what you are afraid of, no matter how insignificant it seems. If you fear public speaking, start by speaking in front of a small group. If you fear failure, set a small goal and take action toward it. Each time you do something that scares you, you weaken the power of fear over your mind. Over time, your confidence grows, and you realize that most of your fears were just illusions holding you back. Action is the antidote to fear because it forces you to face reality rather than get lost in imagined disasters. One of the most overlooked aspects of overcoming fear is learning to embrace discomfort. Many people assume that fear means they should stop. That discomfort is a sign they're on the wrong path. But discomfort is actually a sign of growth. The most successful people in the world did not get where they are by avoiding fear. They got there by pushing through it. When you accept that fear and discomfort are part of the journey, you stop seeing them as obstacles and start seeing them as stepping stones. Instead of running away from fear, lean into it. The more you expose yourself to situations that challenge you, the stronger and more fearless you become. It is not about eliminating fear. It is about building the resilience to handle it. To live fully, you must make a decision to stop letting fear dictate your choices. Fear will always be there, whispering doubts and warning you of what could go wrong. But you have the power to decide whether you will listen to it or rise above it. You are not meant to live a small, limited life because of fear. You are meant to take risks, to pursue your passions, and to step into the unknown with confidence. Every time you choose courage over fear, you take back control of your life. The greatest regret people have at the end of their lives is not the things they tried and failed at, but the things they never tried because they were too afraid. Do not let fear steal your future. Choose to be bold, to take action, and to believe in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. When you stop allowing fear to control you, you open the door to a life of freedom, excitement, and limitless possibilities. Life presents us with a constant choice: to live in fear or to embrace peace. Fear is loud, persistent, and demanding. It thrives on uncertainty, whispering worst-case scenarios into our minds and making us believe that danger is always just around the corner. It convinces us that we are not ready, not capable, not strong enough to face what lies ahead. Fear is an expert at keeping us trapped in a cycle of doubt, hesitation, and avoidance, making us believe that if we worry enough, we can somehow prevent pain, failure, or disappointment. But the truth is, no amount of fear can change the future. It only robs us of the present. The more we give into fear, the more we lose our joy, our confidence, our ability to truly live. But there's an alternative: peace. And peace is not something that happens by accident. It is a choice we must make every single day. Choosing peace over fear does not mean ignoring reality or pretending that life is always easy. It does not mean denying that challenges exist or that difficulties will arise. It means deciding that no matter what happens, you will not allow fear to control your thoughts, your actions, or your happiness. Peace is found in accepting what you cannot control and focusing on what you can. It is found in trusting yourself, believing that you are strong enough to handle whatever comes, and letting go of the constant need to predict or prepare for every possible outcome. Peace is what happens when you stop fighting against life and start flowing with it, when you stop resisting the unknown and start embracing it as part of the journey. One of the biggest reasons people live in fear instead of peace is because they think that worrying gives them control. They believe that if they just think about every possible danger, prepare for every worst-case scenario, and constantly stay on high alert, they can somehow protect themselves from pain. But this is an illusion. Fear does not prevent bad things from happening. It only prevents you from enjoying the good. It creates unnecessary suffering by making you live through imagined hardships before they even occur, most of which never do. Worrying does not change the future, but it does steal the peace you could be experiencing in the present. The only true control we have in life is over our mindset, our perspective, and how we respond to what happens. When you choose peace, you choose to let go of the illusion that fear serves you in any way. Finding peace in a world that often feels uncertain takes practice, but it is possible. It starts with shifting your focus. Instead of dwelling on what could go wrong, focus on what could go right. Instead of fearing failure, focus on growth. Instead of worrying about things you cannot change, focus on the actions you can take. Train your mind to see life as an adventure rather than a series of dangers to avoid. Strengthen your faith in yourself, in your ability to adapt, in your resilience. Surround yourself with positive influences, people, books, experiences that reinforce the mindset of peace over fear. When anxious thoughts arise, challenge them instead of accepting them as truth. Ask yourself, is this fear helping me or is it holding me back? More often than not, fear is nothing more than an overactive imagination creating problems that don't exist. At the end of the day, life is too short to be lived in fear. The moments you spend worrying, doubting yourself, or hesitating because of fear are moments you will never get back. Imagine looking back on your life and realizing how much time you wasted being afraid of things that never happened. Imagine realizing how many opportunities you missed because you let fear make decisions for you. But now you have a choice. You can continue to let fear dictate your life, or you can choose peace. You can choose to trust yourself, to embrace uncertainty, to step into the unknown with confidence. The people who live the fullest, happiest lives are not the ones who never feel fear. They are the ones who refuse to be ruled by it. Choose peace. Choose freedom. Choose to live your life without fear as the driving force. Because in the end, fear takes everything away, but peace gives everything back. Good luck, and thank you